Things just took another major turn, and trust me, this situation is looking worse than ever for Pooh Shiesty. If you missed my previous breakdown, make sure you check it out because it sets up everything that's happening now. The federal authorities have reportedly recovered the video connected to the alleged robbery involving Pooh Shiesty and Guccimane. According to the allegations, the footage shows Pooh Shiesty and several associates confronting Guccimane and pressuring him into saying on camera that Pooh Shiesty had been dropped from 1017. At first, Pooh Shiesty's legal team insisted the government had nothing to build its case with. They claimed there was no video, no solid evidence, no jewelry, and no contract tying everything together. Then, on June 11th, Pooh Shiesty submitted a motion asking the court to reconsider his detention and allow his release under a list of proposed conditions. But just 11 days later, federal prosecutors fired back with a detailed 25-page response urging the judge to reject that request, saying they had even more evidence supporting their case. Like I mentioned in the last video, prosecutors are continuing to argue that Pooh Shiesty poses a serious danger to the community, and that claim is becoming a huge part of this case.
New this morning, the federal government says rapper Pooh Shiesty is simply too dangerous to be out on bond. The rapper's real name is Lontrell Williams Jr. He is asking to be released on bond ahead of his trial. And you may remember he and 8 other men, including his father, are accused in the January robbing and kidnapping of his record label owner, Guccimane. The other defendants, including Shiesty's father and rapper Big 30, they're already out on bond, but here's this new filing. Prosecutors argue Shiesty should not be allowed out under any circumstances. They say no condition of release can protect the community or witnesses against Williams Jr. from the danger he poses. It goes on to say the danger here is concrete. Williams Jr. himself has shot at least 2 people. He leads a Memphis street gang of about 100 members.
And that's exactly why the federal prosecutors ended up releasing those crime scene photos tied to the alleged robbery involving Pooh Shiesty. But that wasn't the only evidence they pointed to, because the filing also referenced text message records already introduced in court, victim impact statements, and what prosecutors describe as previous violations of Pooh Shiesty's bond conditions. Now, I know some of you are probably wondering, who's the victim that submitted the impact statement? Was it Guccimane or someone else? Surprisingly, the statement came from Guccimane's security guard. And this is where the case takes another unexpected turn. As many of you already know, Gucci attended that meeting with an off-duty police officer providing security. That same officer has now written directly to the judge, urging the court not to release Pooh Shiesty because he believes doing so would put his safety at risk. The victim impact statement, submitted under the initial CW, explains that he survived the January 10, 2026 incident and appreciates the opportunity to share his concerns before the court makes its decision. He goes on to ask that Lontrell Williams Jr. remain in custody without bond, saying he fears for both his own safety and the safety of his family if a release is granted. According to the statement, CW says Pooh Shiesty allegedly knew he was a retired law enforcement officer and claims that fact did not stop the alleged actions, leaving him worried about what could happen if he is released. He also explains that among everyone involved in the case, he is the only victim living in Texas, and says he's genuinely concerned that he or his family could become targets if bond is approved, making this one of the strongest arguments prosecutors have presented so far. At this point, you almost have to wonder whether submitting a statement like that could make you an even bigger target if the accusations are true. The letter goes on to claim that Mr. Williams has repeatedly shown a disregard for the safety of others, arguing that the alleged offenses happened while he was already under federal supervision, which leaves the writer convinced that releasing him could create even more danger. The statement also points out that Mr. Williams had previously been given another opportunity through bond and monitoring conditions, yet prosecutors later accused him of being involved in another incident where someone was reportedly shot. According to the letter, the fear has become so overwhelming that both the officer and his wife worry every day about what could happen if Mr. Williams is released. The officer further explains that he constantly watches every unfamiliar vehicle driving past his home because he fears someone connected to the case could come after him or his family. He says those concerns have even changed his children's lives, claiming they can no longer enjoy normal outdoor activities the way most kids should because safety has become the family's top priority. He respectfully asks the judge to put his family's protection first and believes keeping Mr. Williams in custody is the only way to reduce the risk of further harm. After reading everything, I can't lie, that is an incredibly powerful victim impact statement, and it's easy to understand why prosecutors included it in their filing. The letter paints a picture of a family living in constant fear, saying they feel unsafe even though they live in Texas, far from where the alleged incident took place. It's also important to remember that the judge has already approved the release of 2 other people connected to the case, including Big 30 and Pooh Shiesty's father, which naturally raises questions about whether someone else could allegedly act on his behalf, even if he remains behind bars. Whether that's a realistic concern or not, it's clearly one of the arguments the officer is asking the court to consider. A lot of people are surprised that Guccimane's security guard decided to write directly to the judge, but personally, this doesn't shock me at all. Once Gucci released the diss track Crash Dummy, where he referenced the alleged robbery, it became obvious that this legal battle had entered a completely different stage and that every possible move was now on the table. That also means if Gucci is ever called to testify in court, there's a real possibility he could choose to do exactly that. And when you think about what allegedly happened, it's not hard to understand why someone in that position would cooperate with the case. The allegation is that Gucci arrived expecting a business meeting, but instead found himself facing an extremely dangerous situation involving armed individuals. Some reports even claim that if Gucci hadn't instructed his security guard to hold back, the encounter could have escalated into a deadly shootout inside the studio. If that had happened, the off-duty officer might never have made it home to his family, and the outcome for everyone involved could have been far worse. Based on everything that's been alleged so far, prosecutors are presenting this case as one involving people they believe are willing to take serious risks, so it's understandable why a victim would ask the court to deny bond. Of course, some viewers will still ask why the officer and his family don't simply relocate to another city or even another state if they're truly that concerned, and others wonder whether Gucci could help make that happen. Those are fair questions with complicated answers, but from the officer's perspective, protecting his family appears to be the only thing that matters right now. Let me know your thoughts below. Do you think the security guard's victim impact statement will influence the judge's decision on whether Pooh Shiesty should remain in custody without bond?